Mari Ryan is a workplace well-being strategist who creates healthy, thriving workplaces. She regularly speaks on topics related in employee productivity, well-being strategy, and employee and personal engagement. Mari is the award-winning author of The Thriving Hive: How People-Centric Workplaces Ignite Engagement and Fuel Results. Mari, can I prompt you to hold up the book really quick?
Yeah,
There we
there we
go.
go.
Awesome. That's terrific. And I made sure that I was shooting it the right way so people weren't reading it in reverse. Okay, Mari, let's talk a little bit about the Thriving Hive. Um, First of all, what is your definition of this, or what is the concept of the Thriving Hive? What does that mean to you?
Well, thank you. That's a great way to start. The concept of the thriving hive and the way I've written about this in my book is that when you think about going to work, you want work to be an enjoyable experience. And yet we know that we are there for a purpose. We are there to do a job and, help that organization that you're working in to fulfill its goals and objectives. But we often see, and sort of, if you think of the kind of old school management, old school as we think of it today, is where employees were just assets.
Mhm.
I hate the word human capital
Mhm.
because it's just that they're assets that are being put to work, and they're there to produce, and we're counting those numbers, and it's all about the numbers.
Mhm.
Today, we really need to focus more on creating workplaces where both the people and the business thrive.
Mhm.
And that's really the concept behind the work that I do in well-being strategy,
Mhm.
is really creating the conditions in the workplace where the experience that the employees are having is an enjoyable one, that they enjoy coming to work. They feel connected and motivated. They're connected to the purpose of the organization. They're connected to each other. And at the same time, the business is thriving in that it's achieving its goals and objectives.
Mhm.
So it's that balance of being able to make it people centric
Mhm.
and also successful for the business.
How has the Thriving Hive been challenged, during this past year? How much of the Thriving Hive concept is rooted in physical proximity, being in an office? You know what I mean? Sharing a lunch or just being together. How is all of this? How has this concept been challenged or changed in your mind?
Well, I love that question, Dave, because it has everything we know in our lives has been challenged in so many ways as a result of the pandemic. And in particular, when we think about the workplace, we think of it as a place, right? That's what we call it, workplace. So it's a place. And yet today we have to really be redefining place
Hmm.
when we think about work. We really need to be thinking of it as, where can I personally be most productive as an employee? Where can I do what I need to do to fulfill my job requirements and to
Hmm.
support the organization's goals? And it's challenged where we think about that. And for many managers in particular, that's been really difficult, who have so long been rooted in the idea that if I can't see my people, they must not be working. So that's a really big paradigm change. And the real piece around the truly now distributed workplace is that the impact it has on connection.
Hmm.
Connection is such an important part of who we are as human beings. And that when we break that or disrupt that, not necessarily broken,
Hmm.
but as we've disrupted that, we've had to learn to do things differently.
Hmm.
And that's, I think, one of the biggest challenges that people have been facing.
Hmm.
That obviously there's many challenges people have been facing, and especially for parents working from home with kids trying to do school, and
Yeah.
all of those demands that are different demands that are being placed on people's lives. And I say different because they had a bunch of demands anyway, right? We
Hmm.
talked about work life balance for so many years. And it was about, chauffeuring the kids and picking kids up from school. And, so the demands are just different,
Hmm.
but they have different types of stress on people.
Hmm.
And organizations that are doing a really good job at keeping people connected, making sure they've got the right technology in
Hmm.
place to be able to create the environment where people can communicate easily and make those connections, are going to be the ones that are really supporting the well-being of their workforce in a very important way.
Excellent, excellent, excellent advice. So, Mari, I know been thrilled to get this question, but it's a question I ask everybody. Um, Mari, what lessons have we learned, or are we learning right now in this moment of high flux? What lessons are we learning, or have we learned that we must not forget as we move forward?
Well, we have to remember that the world has stopped to pay attention to our health and well-being.
Hmm.
And we recognize that there really is nothing more important than our health. If we don't have our health, we don't have anything.
Hmm.
And it's really important for us to remember that, and to remember that we have a responsibility not just to ourselves, but to our families, to our neighbors, to the world, to our communities, to be able to do our part. And whatever that means for each individual, whether that's taking care of yourself.
Hmm.
I think self-care is one of the things that is the life lesson that's come from this, is that we have to take care of ourselves so we can be there for our families, so we can be there for our communities and for our colleagues in the workplace. And by doing that, by practicing self-care, of course, we can improve our health, we can maintain our health, and we can be there for everybody who needs us.
That's fantastic. Thank you. Once again, I want to remind folks that Mari's book is entitled The Thriving Hive: How People-Centric Workplaces Ignite Engagement and Fuel Results. Please check it out. You won't regret it. Mari, you're my buddy. I see you every Tuesday, so
I love
it's good to catch up with you out of school. Have a great rest of the
it.
day.
Yeah. Thanks so much. It's always great to spend time with you, Dave. Thanks.
Bye bye.